Ladies and gentlemen, soccer fans here in St. Louis and around the world, hola, and welcome to another episode of Atletico TV. One of the hosts, as always, Josh McGee, here joined by Coach Ricky Garza. Ricky, how you been doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just enjoying the summer.
Yeah, it's been flying by pretty quickly. I mean, we're already here into July, and we've made it through a couple of major finals, transitioning over to focus more on U.S. men's, women's, and national teams. So, yeah, it's been pretty quick, and obviously, we're headed close to the next club season here in the fall. But we want to get back in the swing of things. Of course, a lot of soccer went down this past weekend, so we want to talk a little bit about it with you all here. Ashley, she probably is off celebrating somewhere, but she's also currently on vacation. But we'll be talking and speaking for her plenty because of what went down on this past Sunday afternoon. That's where we're going to start with the Euro 2020 final. Caps off an amazing tournament that was hosted by, I believe, at least 11 different countries. We ended up at Wembley Stadium in London for the final. England versus Italy, two of the most historic, countries in all of Europe, battling it out. Italy trying to win their first Euro final since 1968. England in their first Euro final, trying to win their first one in front of their home fans. And Rick, I feel like we would need, three coaches breakdowns to get to everything that happened in this match. I mean, it started off great for England. We had a quick goal to start with Luke Shaw scoring there in the second minute. Then things kind of moved at a more methodical pace. Italy seemed to get back into the swing of things. Eventually they came up with the equalizer there in the second half. Not much going either way in the second half, through extra time. And we get to that penalty kick shootout, which we can kind of leave separately. But talk to me about the match first, overall, especially in regulation and into extra time, what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of a little questionable at the end. England had control of the game and then decided to park the bus and just defend to get the win. And I think that's where Italy had enough ball control, enough possession in their half to make something happen. I don't think England was good enough to just park the bus in the championship final and just win it out 1-0. And I would have liked to have seen England. I wanted Italy to win, but from a coach's standpoint, I would have liked England to keep it going. And that would have just put too much pressure on Italy. England has a lot of young players out there that can fly. And I just thought the tactic wasn't the brightest to just sit there and try to defend to win.
Yeah, I was a little shocked to see, the starting 11 was a back five there by Gareth Southgate, but it paid off immediately, right? Because Trippier was the guy who played the ball to Luke Shaw. They obviously able to utilize that width a little bit and get up and down the field. It seemed to be working there for that first half hour, but like you said, something just kind of switched off there with England. They stopped really pushing going forward. They didn't have the extra creativity in the midfield like they had in their previous matches. And Italy, I mean, yes, this was the first time they trailed at Euro 2020, but they're just slow, steady, win the race, keep going. They're more creative guys, got on the ball more in the second half. And then, that goal they scored was just a way of them getting in front of each of their man on that corner kick. They just hustled and out-strengthened England on that attempt, and they were able to get that equalizing goal. So, things definitely dropped off. And then eventually at that point, late on in the match, 1-1, neither team wants to lose. So, of course, they're going to try to get to extra time. Not much happens there. We go to a penalty kick shootout, which, again, as I've always stated, there's no exact science to this, right? I mean, I was thinking before it started, like, who does this atmosphere hurt more? Does it hurt England, all the pressure in the world in front of their home fans, or Italy, in front of just a raucous crowd there at Wembley, a hostile atmosphere? How are they going to deal with it? So it could have gone either way. Italy went down once again in this penalty kick shootout. They were the first ones to have an attempt saved. Jordan Pickford was very good in this shootout, but then things just started going south for England, right? Marcus Rashford, weird run-up, strikes the left post. Jadon Sancho, both were substitutes late on in the match, has his shot saved by Gianluigi Donnarumma. Jorginho had a chance to win it for Italy on his attempt, but his shot was saved by Pickford, so it was all up to 19-year-old Bukayo Saka, who saw his attempt saved by Donnarumma as well. I got a few things to say about this, Rick, but from a coaching's perspective and from a fan's perspective, what did you think of how the shootout went?
So at the end of our collegiate season, every year we have our entire team have a PK competition, and you score, you move on, and it sort of weeds everyone out. But the run-ups, the pausing, the starting, it's not my style. And as a coach, I think statistically you're less likely to hit the ball with quality when you do that. When my guys do that, I'm immediately like, before they even kick it, I'm like, you're out. And they look at me. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I want you to go up. You know where it's going to go, and you strike it well. Saha at the end struck the ball well. That was just a great save. But like Rashford with the run up, with all that crap in the final, I thought that was just not the time or place. But that's just the way these young players are doing it now. Just drives me nuts, to be honest. I can't stand it. Can't stand it. But talk about pressure. 19-year-old has to go up there and make that shot. I thought he hit the shot well. The goalie guessed right and made the save.
Yeah, I'm definitely not here to blame any of the players except from, Rashford, again, in terms of just the wind up to it,
Yeah.
You can kind of question it there. But in terms of just that situation, again, all the pressure in the world, it's just an incredible amount to deal with. So I'm not here to blame the players. I'm here to blame the manager because, again, you've got Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford. And we've seen this with England in the past. You've got the most loaded bench at this tournament. And the fact that it took you so long to bring on Jack Grealish for Mason Mount, who hadn't been doing anything in this match. I'm a Chelsea fan and will happily admit Mount wasn't doing anything. Grealish has been a great sub in this tournament, but it took him forever to bring him on. Rashford and Sancho come on in the 119th minute or the 120th minute. No time to do anything. They could have ran Italy into the ground. All those guys were tired. You bring on fresh legs like those guys. They should have been tearing it up out there, but they're not given a chance. So they come in basically cold to a penalty kick shootout, and there's your end result. And then at the end, a 19-year-old kid who's never taken a competitive penalty, especially for the English national team, but I don't think he's taken a competitive penalty at all. You would trust him with the fifth and final spot, knowing full well that when you get to that point, you have no idea how the shootout is going to be. It's inexcusable for me. And again, maybe the players had something to say in this whole situation, but I just would have gone it a completely different way. You got so many other veterans on that team who could have gone up there and taken this penalty. So I just think it's very, irresponsible of Southgate to put Saka in that position for him to have to take that kick. Like you said, it wasn't that bad. Again, it's just Donnarumma, player of the tournament, right? He had an excellent tournament. He's helped Italy in 2 penalty kick shootouts, made a lot of great saves. At the end of the day, I think that England missed an opportunity here and could have, covered themselves if they were still to lose the shootout had they gone with different types of guys. But in the end, Italy, we've talked about it in history. We've talked about it this tournament. Just calm, cool, and collected, right? They just keep chugging along. They didn't get frazzled, especially by going down early, and they just found a way to manage the game. That's what they're known for, and that's what they've been doing lately. 34 matches unbeaten now, and now, of course, they're the champions of Europe. And I guess just in the totality of the tournament and what they've been doing, Rick, what impressed you the most about Italy this past few months?
Well, just controlling anything in their half of the field, just under control. That's how they're able to get through. They have the creative players. They have a great, fun style to watch. They're no Atletico Madrid defensive unit type of thing, but they're just defenders individually. The experience that they have, you have to respect how old they are, and some of these guys out there, and still 34 undefeated. They're a fun team to watch. They deserve the win for sure. England, like you said, had the young guns, didn't utilize it, and it played into Italy's hand. And now they're the champs.
Yeah, just again, the steady consistency from the group stage onward, only being down once, only conceding, 4 or 5 goals this entire tournament. Defense, as stellar as you would expect from Italy, but this new dynamic, this creative midfield that they've got, these exciting wingers they have on the outside, it's much different than what Italy has had in the past. Makes them more dynamic and more fun, and obviously that punch was needed here at the end to get them over the top. Roberto Mancini, I think this is his career accomplishment. I know he did a great job of getting Manchester City that first EPL title, but in terms of starting from scratch, basically, right? This team missed the 2018 World Cup. Italy hadn't missed a World Cup in 60 years. They missed it in 2018. He comes in to take on this project 6 months after that loss, and has completely reinvented them in the way that now they're on the top of their continent. So that's really impressive to do in such a short period of time. And like you said, they're clearly the best team at this tournament. If England had won, they would have been the best team. It was unquestioned what we got in that final. At the end of the day, Italy came out on top. I'm just excited now, obviously, in terms of overall. We're going to talk about some more international soccer here in a second, but overall, leading into next year's World Cup, yes, Teams still got to qualify, but I think a lot of questions and a lot of interesting storylines come out of this Euro 2020. Can Italy keep this up? How can England deal with this loss? Think about some of those other bigger teams like Belgium and France who came up short in some of the earlier rounds. Some of the other surprise teams, can they kind of copy their success? How about Denmark or something, So this tournament was great. A lot of great goals, a lot of fun action. And at the end of the day, I think we got to deserve a winner. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Can't wait for the World Cup.
Exactly. Well, Rick, let's move on here and talk a little bit about the other major final that went down in international soccer this weekend. That would be the Copa America Final. We get that huge South American rivalry, Brazil versus Argentina, Neymar versus Messi. And at the end of the day, it's Argentina coming out on top by a score of 1-0. Angel Di Maria took advantage of a poor clearance there by the Brazil defense, was able to get in on goal, and then chipped the goalkeeper Ederson there for the only goal of that match. Of course, the big storyline is Lionel Messi winning his first senior trophy with Argentina. You could just see it on his face, on the faces of his teammates there at full time, what it meant for them and what it meant for him specifically, and all just the wild celebrations. Messi's usually a serious dude, even when things are going well. And he was as elated, as a schoolboy would be winning this type of tournament. What did you make of the match, Rick, how Argentina was able to get it done against the Brazil team that really hasn't been touched here over the past couple of months?
Yeah, if you watch the game, Argentina controlled the half space. Brazil didn't look as dangerous in terms of combinations and keeping the ball long periods of time and building up. I don't know where that Brazil team went, but it was not there this weekend. Argentina just seemed to be willing to go end line to end line and tick for tat, and I just felt that the half spaces were controlled. Messi's role with Argentina, just to build and create. Brazil couldn't stop it, and Messi's a leader. He's proven that he is a leader. He does what's best for the team, and you have to have nothing but respect for him. I thought Neymar didn't do much. He didn't live up to the hype. I didn't think he created much. But again, I don't think there was a lot of other support around him that was creating either. I don't know. There's some tactics there to break down another time. But I just felt like Argentina, when I was watching the first half, and it goes 1-0 into halftime. It was just sort of like Argentina can do this, so.
So I had to watch this game on replay basically when I got back out from covering other soccer. And it was just kind of, again, shocking to me to see Brazil drop off the way they did. Again, this is a team that's gone undefeated through World Cup qualifying so far, basically breezed through the group stage of Copa America. Peru, they scored early, and then they kind of just managed and controlled the game. And I think that's where things have kind of crept in, where they weren't as aggressive in that second half, trying to get a second goal. And then much like Italy did here, they go down for the first time really at this tournament. And this time, though, they were the ones that just didn't know what to do with it. Argentina did an excellent job of maintaining possession, controlling Brazil. And then, like you said, not many of the players were creating many chances going forward. So it's a little bit shocking on paper. Brazil, some of the talent, maybe it's a little bit questionable, but what they've been doing from a team perspective, it didn't really matter because they were dominating so much. But Argentina, the names that they've got, obviously Di Maria scores here, but they've got Lautaro Martinez from Inter Milan. They've got Paredes from PSG. There's a lot of talent on that pitch. Another dynamic also that was on showcase at this tournament is the fact they have a number one goalkeeper now who can be a game changer. That's Emiliano Martinez from Aston Villa. Huge in that shootout win versus Colombia, and then on the night versus Brazil, made a lot of key saves. So it's a different dynamic that Argentina haven't had in the past. They have that stability now at the back. They've always had great players going forward. And now Messi's got 2 or 3 guys that he can count on to join him in attack. Thought he was fantastic. Again, I think 9 of the 12 goals he had a direct hand in, either scoring or assisting. I mean, he's just doing his thing. But finally, at the end of the day, in a final, when it counted, he and his side were able to get things done and pick up this trophy. It's a huge deal. Copa America, I don't know in terms of a comparison. Maybe you could say it's the South American Euros. I'm not sure. But still, it's a big deal. It's a big enough trophy for people to try to discredit it here. This was a big deal for Argentina. Messi finally getting it done for them. So, again, it was a great kind of cap to the tournament. A lot of great action. I know no fans until the final, basically. It was a tough situation having to move it to Brazil, and hopefully next time around things will be a little bit more normal. But still, thought it was a great conclusion. And yeah, Argentina winning makes things quite interesting going forward there in that continent.
Yeah, and they didn't sit back and defend even when they were up 1-0, and that's what's the difference between the Italy-England game and the Brazil-Argentina. And they were able, it's hard for a team to have to defend and still come back into the game. So hats off to that. I guess we take a break for a little while and recharge now that these two tournaments are over with. And but I have to say the past few weeks have been really, really exciting for soccer.
Well, don't take a break too long because we got the Gold Cup obviously coming up, and things, are at their introductory stage. I wouldn't worry too much about the U.S. men's national team right now. They picked up a 1-0 win versus Haiti the other night. Sam Vine scoring his first goal for the U.S. Again, I just think it was more of a get out there, know what you got, and kind of try to figure things out. I mean, Mexico drew in their first match, so that's obviously good enough for them to get the 3 points here to start. You know that Canada's kind of suffered a big blow with Alphonso Davies being ruled out. So, again, I think this group is pretty straightforward for the U.S. I wouldn't be too concerned at all. The real questions will come when we get to that knockout stage coming up in a couple weeks. And, of course, the U.S. women preparing for the Olympics. Excited for when that gets underway here at the end of the month. So a lot going on there with those national teams as well. Again, before we quickly wrap up, just want to talk a little bit about some St. Louis soccer. I know the Gallagher season has ended. The boys, I believe, finished third in their conference, which is great for their inaugural season. The women's team, I believe, finished in first. I don't know if they've got playoff games coming up or not. Still, huge congrats to them. We've seen Fire and Ice and the Lions wrap up their WPSL seasons, of course, here as well over this next week or so. So it was a fun summer. It was a great summer. A lot of soccer to catch up on. And, yeah, I think, again, a lot of success going around here for St. Louis. Of course, also want to shout out to Luis, who helped out with St. Louis FC Academy during the MLS Showcase, the MLS Next playoffs. It was good showing there by 4 of the Academy teams across different age levels. So good developments on that front as well. Rick, anything going on with Club Atletico here over these past next few weeks?
Yeah, we have 2 more weeks of Club Atletico summer training program. We have some great college players that are out there. We have around 13, 14 guys. We've mixed it up with a Latin League team, Real Llano, and they come out to train with us, as well as some veteran Club Atletico guys trickling in each night. We have a scrimmage tomorrow night of our Atletico team versus the summer team, and it's great. It's a new program that we just launched. We're going to launch it again, continue it next summer. And we're also going to offer a U17 component to that next summer because it's been really successful and we really like how it's going. So a couple more weeks, we're off for vacation. I think next week, Atletico TV might be in the studio, maybe close out the summer. So to be continued here, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to try and maybe work on a thing or two here to wrap things up here. It's been fun, again, keeping up with all the soccer. And, again, it's been good that all of it's been on. We can keep up with it. Of course, not too many interruptions and all the other schedules. So that's good. We'll keep you guys posted on any more of those developments here locally. And, of course, with the show coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But, yeah, hope to be back in the studio. Again, fill things out. Hopefully Ashley will be back, and she will give us more of her thoughts on Italy's big win. No, she's super pumped about that. And, of course, we'll be a few more weeks into the Gold Cup, and we'll kind of try to cover what's going on there as well. This is good. Again, just to get back, talk a little bit about the huge soccer weekend that we had. I think it's very exciting going forward with the teams that we had win, what that means for the World Cup and other things going forward here into next year. So, again, shout out to all the Italy and Argentina fans. I know you're pretty happy right now. I know a lot of English supporters for over my years just playing soccer and knowing the game. And it's tough, But there's so much talent there with that team that I know they'll bounce back in a way, and it's coming. That win is definitely coming soon, and hopefully, they'll be able to get it done here in the next couple of turns. But still, great soccer this weekend. Great covering here for you all on Atletico TV. Great to catch up with you again, Rick. And yeah, hopefully soon here, the next week or two, we'll have another brand new episode coming out for you all to watch. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been another episode of Atletico TV.
Adios.